Hello everyone. I'm here today to talk to you about what is broadly considered to be one of the films of all time. Some people are even saying it is definitely a movie that definitely exists. And we will have spoilers here, which shouldn't bother you because apparently nobody is seeing this film. We're talking about Borderlands. Borderlands, devastatingly, and unlike Madam Web, is not a room-like. It's just really boring. To be fair, not a property that I ever felt needed a movie. The fun to be had in Borderlands is very much driven by you as a player, enjoying that world, the craziness of it, running around shooting things, less the narrative capacity, though I suppose Tales from the Borderlands does a really good job with that. This movie, however, did not. It is loosely based on Borderlands 1 and is boring. Cate Blanchett, who plays our protagonist Lilith, is just really unlikable. There is definitely this increasingly common thing that I guess when it first started was okay, but is now just very played out and boring and was always a little boring. It just like took people a while to realize that it was boring, where they make this badass female character who's tough and doesn't take shit, but that's her only character trait, is just that she doesn't take shit. She gives no fucks, she takes no shit, she rolls her eyes, everything sucks, she's so cool. She's not, she's really one note. They do that to Cate Blanchett for majority of this movie until I guess a little bit at the end where it's like sort of character development, but mostly just lore. And it does result in a kind of awkward performance that I, again, don't necessarily blame her for. She didn't have a lot to work with. It's just, okay, tangent. I feel like when people write female characters like this, they think they're doing a Ripley or a Sarah Connor, but they forget the heart of those characters. Like, Ripley and Sarah Connor are both very cool, badass women, sure, but they also have wants and needs and relationships and things they care about. And it's like this modern version of the empowered, badass, strong woman trope is that she can't have any dependencies or anything she cares about. And it's just, it makes it very difficult to invest in a character. So, okay, actually, to rewind, we start off with Roland, a similarly very one-note character played by Kevin Hart, who, it's like a weird casting choice in that Roland in the game is kind of like one note, and some of the funny things that he says are because of his dryness. And that is sort of how Kevin Hart plays it, but it's weird because it's like Kevin Hart is just Kevin Hart in this movie, but without being funny, which feels like a strange use of Kevin Hart. Why? He breaks into a facility to kidnap Tiny Tina, who is played by Ariana Greenblatt, I believe is how you pronounce her name. And I actually think she did a pretty good job, except that she suffers from the exact same problems of being super one note. I actually don't remember why Roland broke Tiny Tina out of the facility. I'm not going to proclaim that the movie didn't explain that well. It may have. I don't know. I was very bored. For some reason, while leaving this facility, Krieg, who is played by Florian Munteanu, who is a giant psycho, not the actor, the character. I mean, the actor maybe. I don't know him. The character is a large psycho, as in that psycho is a Borderlands term. He like breaks out of his cell or something, which is made of glass or something. It all happened pretty fast, but I think it looked like he smashed through some glass that in theory he could have smashed through at any point in time. I'm not fully sure. And for some reason that I'm also not sure of, agrees to help Roland get Tina out of this facility. And that's all there is to say about Krieg. He is large, and he is buff, and he is like Tina's best friend. They become best friends in about 2 seconds, and it's like Krieg is like her puppy dog, and there is nothing else to say about him at all. Not the actor's fault here either. This is the biggest thing that makes me think there were probably some major cuts or major script changes, is that I imagine there's a version of this script that exists where Krieg has way more character, but he has none. He may as well not be there. You could say that for everybody. I mean, you could definitely say it for Roland as well, who doesn't really do anything. But I mean, at least Tina and Lilith and sort of Claptrap and maybe Tannis, but we haven't gotten to her, but still not really, like, at least a little bit pushed the plot forward. Roland and Krieg, you could have cut them and it would have made no difference to this movie. It may have been shorter, which I probably would have preferred. But like even Tina, who does move the plot forward, is barely a character. And because you have this little girl who gets broken out of this facility, who is on this scary planet, but never shows any semblance of sadness or fear in any capacity, you're never really worried about her or concerned at all. She doesn't even show like any desire for help. She doesn't really seem to care about anything. I'm getting ahead of myself. Grumpy, mean, tough girl Lilith is at a bar and gets a job offer, which is great for her because she's a bounty hunter. Even though she mentions several times in this movie that she's too old for this shit, which just feels like the script referencing that Cate Blanchett is over 55. Still very hot, by the way. She's distractingly attractive woman. She's really hot. Good for her. Lilith gets a bounty from mega corporation. Atlas himself, the namesake of said company, is Tina's father. So she heads to Pandora, her home planet that she has not visited since she was a little girl. She doesn't like it there. She has no interest in this job. She doesn't seem to have interest in anything. She obviously wants to find Tina, but not that urgently. We are presented with no interesting driving force or moral quandary or character reason for Lilith to do or want to do anything, and no emotional baseline for our protagonist really at all, which, you know, is the beginning of the problem. If I wanted to watch somebody be really bored doing their mundane job, I would watch a Twitch streamer react to hour-long videos that they occasionally leave running while they go take a shit. Lilith gets to Pandora, gets on a bus, and some dude makes repeated jokes about her being a vault hunter. Law is that Pandora has this hidden vault that has a bunch of stuff in it from this previous race. Everyone is trying to find the vault and open the vault because they think it'll make them rich. Nobody has yet found the vault. Basically, this bus driver repeatedly makes a joke about her being a vault hunter, and she just repeatedly goes, "Not a vault hunter." As though it's a joke. Genuinely, this happens 5 times or so. It may happen more than that. I'm not necessarily the most socially adept person, but I wasn't sure what the joke was. I just knew that it was being played to me as one. Actually, most of the humor in this movie it's at least a little different to the Marvel over-quippiness that I think a lot of us have gotten tired of. There is still some of that there, but it's mostly just really childish. Like, Claptrap pooping is the height of chomedy in this film. The jokes just straight up feel like things that kids would laugh at, and it's weird. Though actually, hang on. While the action pieces are pretty long and are supposed to be the exciting thing that happens in this movie, nobody ever dies. There's no blood. Nobody ever even actually gets hurt. There isn't any blood or gore or any like real consequence for anything that happens. Is this a kids movie? It could be. It feels very safe, and it should not have been. Anyway, Lilith gets to Pandora. Gets on a bus. The dude repeatedly makes some joke, I guess. I'm still not sure. Do I understand what jokes are, or is this the film? I don't know. She is then met by Claptrap, played by Jack Black, who I thought did also a pretty good job, but I personally, don't shoot me. I'm really sorry. Have always found Claptrap a little bit obnoxious. It's never really been my thing. He's also obnoxious here. Claptrap has been programmed, as it turns out, to wait for Lilith on Pandora for reasons we do not know at this point. Lilith, of course, being the bright ray of sunshine who has no interest in the film that she is participating in, dislikes this. Conveniently, though, Claptrap knows exactly where Tina is, so Lilith and Claptrap go find tiny Tina. Tina doesn't want to be captured, though. She's not interested in being returned to Daddy. So there is a bunch of like CGI nonsense where Tina shoots some rockets at Lilith, Krieg helps out, and I don't know, some stuff happens that leads to Roland appearing again. I don't remember. And then Lilith and Claptrap team up with Roland, Krieg, and Tina, and I'm still not fully sure why this happened. I mean, I guess there is the reveal that Tina doesn't want to be returned to Atlas, which Lilith did not know, but we as an audience already knew that, so it's not like it's some big reveal twist thing. We're just like, yeah, it's the thing that was established at the start of the film, which also had a bunch of exposition, which again makes me think this had a lot of reshoots. Nor do we have any reason at this point to know why Lilith would decide against bringing Tina in. And also, Lilith comes across as a very bad bounty hunter, except that she does a lot of cool flippy gun things. Those were like one of my highlights of the movie. She flips the guns in her hands a lot, and it's quite cool. But basically, the real reason that they get together is the army shows up, and Roland's like, we better do this together, or the army's gonna kill us or something. It's like Atlas's private army. And then they go and they do car stuff. I found the car stuff exceptionally boring, and I think this is the part of the movie where I started checking the time. They drive in a car, even though the army have flying vehicles, they manage to outmaneuver them, which seems unlikely, but whatever. And they make bad jokes in the car, and while they get like vomited on, again, like very childish humor. They think that kids are playing Borderlands? Whatever, I don't know. I'm just confused about why this movie is the way that it is. So yeah, there's some bad CGI stuff that really only serves to complement some very goofy action. I should mention at this part that the main antagonist of this movie is mostly Commander Knox rather than Atlas, who is played by somebody I would consider a personal friend, Janina Gavankar. Janina is a wonderful actress and a beautiful person, and while I similarly feel like it wasn't her fault, Knox is also sort of a thumb-twiddly, like generic, angry villain. Just as Atlas, the President Atlas, played by Edgar Ramirez, is just like the charismatic evil billionaire guy. Like, they're very standard character types. These are writing issues and directing issues, and frankly, like, everyone's just cheesy. So we find out somewhere around here that Tiny Tina is genetically engineered to be part of that race I mentioned of creatures, beings. They're called Iridians, who put the vaults on Pandora and locked their fancy technology in it that everybody's been looking for this whole time. So in order to get into the vault that has been hotly sought after and highly anticipated for a long time / maybe only like 50 years, which is a thing that logically didn't make a ton of sense at the end of the movie, but I don't want to think about it too hard because it's fine. You need Tina or something. Tina will help you open the vault. She's special. She routinely tells you how special she is. So the crew heads to a city and wear these cool holographic face masks to hide their identities because they are now wanted, which honestly, loved these. They were great. They go to Moxie's bar to find someone, maybe? I don't remember, but while I will say a lot of the sets look very cheap, I actually thought Moxie's bar looked pretty cool. Moxie herself, also pretty cool. Also, comedian Bobby Lee was there. They spend very little time there and then run off to meet Dr. Tanis, played by Jamie Lee Curtis. Guess how Lilith feels about this. Wouldn't you like to know how Lilith is feeling? I bet you would love to know how Lilith is feeling. She's the protagonist of the movie. Yeah, she's grumpy about it. She's grumpy about it again. How dare thing have to occur in film in which I am protagonist? Grrr. There is a little more to it though. We sort of learn here that Tanis was like Lilith's foster mom when she was a kid before she was sent off Pandora when she lost her mother, which I think is supposed to get you more invested in Lilith, but I was not. So they can't stay long because they're being hunted, and it turns out, in the most video gameness, Tanis knows where the other key is to open the vault, alongside having Tina and another key or something. So our crew goes to find that. It's in an underground mine that's full of ooze, of just like toxic waste. It feels very Scooby-Doo, to be honest. They get to the storage room and they're like, oh my god, it's so big, how would we find the key? And then Lilith's like, found it! Which is the movie foreshadowing that Lilith too may be special. This is very obvious, but they do also like replay that bit later, just to really remind you that she found the key. We foreshadowed it. Again, like a kid's movie. Maybe it's a kid's movie. So they have to fight psychos to get out, and there's this really dumb bit where Claptrap's like, hey, I ran the diagnostics, and the chances of you guys getting through these psychos is 0%. And then they're like, maybe for us. What if you distracted them, though? And then he does, and I think this is where the part where Claptrap poops happens, and they all escape, actually. They all live. There's definitely this moment there where you're supposed to think that Roland is going to die, but because I had no attachment to him or anybody else as a character, I didn't care. There's also definitely a thing here where, like, this movie is kind of very video gamey in a way that maybe people will grow to appreciate. The psychos have no reason to be where they are, nor any reason to be doing what they're doing. They act like video game NPCs. You know how, like, you approach an enemy in a video game and they're clearly not really doing anything, they're just waiting for you to arrive? They would do that in video games because budget. Because it's not worth it to program something and animate something to do things that the player is not actively looking at. You don't need to do that in a movie. These guys were just like hanging out, doing video game NPC nothingness. Very cute. Anyway, yeah, they all get out of the mine. They somehow teleport, which Tiny Tina assumes is one of her cool special girl's abilities because she's special. Lilith at this point decides to smash a beacon that Atlas gave her, which turns out it was a tracking device. I don't even really know why she held on to it. She may have thought that once she had Tina, she was supposed to like call Atlas. I'm not really sure. But it makes a holographic Atlas show up and be like, I still want the girl though. Tina overhears this and is upset and throws a grenade at Lilith. Oh no, our group splits up. Whatever will we do? What are we gonna do about it, Banjo? No! You're so cute. Look at your little face, you're so cute. Do you wanna see Borderlands? Borderlands, Banjo? Oh, good boy. So the group splits up, and then when Lilith wakes up, Claptrap shows her a tape from her mom, I think. And Lilith and Claptrap go walking. I'm not even sure what their motivation was at this point, but I guess they happen to be right next to the town that Lilith grew up in. Very convenient. They go to Lilith's old house, and Claptrap finds something that triggers, I think, another tape from her mother. I may be accidentally separating those two things. We were like almost 100 minutes in at this point, and you know, the tape is of kid Lilith leaving in a helicopter with Tanis and her mom being like sad about it. And to be honest, there was definitely enough room on that helicopter for her mom to fit. but it's fine. The rest of the team find the vault, thanks to Tanis having some sort of vault-findy tech. And who saw this coming? Atlas was waiting there for them. Tina puts the key on what should open the vault and is like, open for me, bro, and it doesn't. Turns out Tina not actually special. Tina mid. Instead, actually, Lilith's special. Lilith opened door? Turns out Lilith is the last Iridian. She opens the vault. She gets cool Firehawk powers. There's a big fight between Atlas and our border gang, in which eventually Lilith takes Atlas inside of the vault, and some tentacle monster takes him away, which, damn. For free? Hang on. For free? I'm sorry. Then they go and watch fireworks over the city, and Lilith becomes Firework also. When I made a video very similar to this one about Madam Web, I think I still encouraged you all to go see Madam Web. I sadly would not encourage you to see Borderlands, as I don't think most people will enjoy this movie. It won't please fans because it's very different, and they changed a lot of even basic character stuff. For people who aren't fans, there's just not enough compelling character development. There's just nothing to really invest in here, unfortunately. Also, I apologize if you have seen this movie and noticed inaccuracies in this synopsis. I was very bored, so